Village's Vitality listeners, I've got some good news for you. If you're listening via our Buzzsprout feed, you should see a fan mail button. You can ask questions or leave me comments as a text, or in our new feature, you can send it as a voicemail. If you'd like a response, make sure you leave your name, email address, and cell phone number.
Welcome to Season 8 of Village's Vitality Life, Seniors Life Unscripted. In this new season, we talk to leaders of clubs and interesting folks who live in and around the villages. We also talk to people who have information vital to seniors. You will get perspectives of what is happening in and around the villages, Florida. In addition, in this new season, we will add more information for all seniors. We are a listener-supported podcast.
This is Mike Roth on Village's Vitality, Senior Life Unscripted. I'm here today with Dr. Stephen Katz. Thanks for joining me, Steve.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Dr. Stephen Katz is a DDS dentist with an MS degree. He's the immediate past president of the American Association of Endodontists. He's also a diplomat of the American Board of Endodontics and a member of the American Dental Association. Dr. Katz is in private practice in Beechwood, Ohio. That's in the Cleveland area, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, okay. And he's an adjunct professor at the West Virginia University School of Dentistry. Well, that's a heck of a drive, isn't it, Steve?
It's about 3 hours, Mike, yes.
How did you get associated with the West Virginia School of Dentistry?
Dear friend, a really great question. He's in charge of the endodontics program there, and he asked me to come and to teach periodically. So that's what I do. I don't go every day. I don't even go every week, but I do drive down there periodically and spend some time with the endodontic residents teaching them.
We're here to talk about teeth and seniors. So how are seniors' teeth different than younger people's teeth, Steve?
In some ways, seniors' teeth are not any different in that seniors still need to take care of them the way we have always need to maintain their routines of flossing and brushing regularly. They need to see their dentist regularly. If they have a problem, just like any age group, they need to see the dentist or sometimes even a specialist. But seniors' teeth do differ in some other ways. So one of the things that happens as we mature is inside of our tooth, we tend to get smaller root canals, if you will. So that's my area of expertise. So the root canal system narrows as we age, and we don't necessarily see that in younger patients. The other thing that happens is that seniors can sometimes lose dexterity as they age, and so that would necessitate potentially using an electric toothbrush or something like that. So the way they care for their teeth needs to change. Could be related to arthritis in your hands or something like that. And then one of the other things that happens frequently is that seniors can be on medications that can alter the conditions in the mouth. As an example, some antihypertensives that are used for blood pressure, some medications used for diabetes, they can cause either inflammation of the gums or a drying of the mouth, and then that doesn't allow saliva to do what it needs to wash away the debris and things like that. And so seniors need to be concerned about things like that.
You used a word that I'd like you to define, regularly. Some dentists around here say that you should see the dentist every 3 months. When I was younger, I would go to see the dentist twice a year.
Sure.
Which one did you mean when you said regularly?
Well, regularly is loosely defined. So it really depends on the individual. Typically in the past, the American Dental Association has recommended that you see the dentist twice a year. But that doesn't take into account that subset of patients that have additional issues or problems that require a little more maintenance. So those folks would want to go to the dentist more often. So it may be once every 3 months, it may be once every 4 months. Typically, most patients that don't have gum disease can get by going to the dentist twice a year. But patients that are again, higher maintenance, typically with gum disease, they probably need to see the dentist more frequently.
Question that comes up regularly is, what's the difference between a deep clean?
Sure. So a cleaning is pretty superficial. You don't typically get numb for that. They just clean the tartar off of the tooth structure that's exposed above the gums. Okay, when you have a deep cleaning, oftentimes you'll get numb for that, and they'll go down onto the root surfaces below the gums and clean down there. So deep means exactly what it says. They're going deeper onto the tooth surface to clean areas that are not exposed on top of the gum.
Why would someone need a deep cleaning?
Again, if you get tartar buildup or if you get plaque buildup underneath the gums, then it needs to be cleaned out. For most of us, we're able to keep those surfaces clean and the plaque doesn't get underneath. So we don't have that issue. But there are patients, and again, those are typically periodontal patients or patients with gum problems. They'll tend to get buildup underneath the gums, and they'll need to go to someone to clean that out, to get that deeper cleaning.
Why is it important for people to keep their natural teeth as long as possible?
Nothing really looks or functions or feels like our natural teeth. They are just so important for chewing, for speaking, and for that all-important smile. We also know that if you can maintain your teeth for as long as possible, hopefully for your lifetime, that you'll have better cognitive function, improved cardiovascular health, and even improved glycemic health, blood sugar control. So there's lots of things that are connected to taking good care of your teeth and being healthy in your mouth. The connection between oral health and systemic health, our overall health, is really becoming much clearer now. And it's so important to hold on to our natural teeth. The other thing, and this is especially true for seniors, we know how important it is to interact and to have a social life. And if you don't have your natural teeth, if you don't feel comfortable smiling, you're not going to speak with other people. You're not going to go out and become part of the community and have social interactions. It's just crucial. And in addition to that, you can replace your teeth if you lose them with bridges and implants. However, it's not the same. It just doesn't function the same. And also, they're much more expensive than maintaining your natural teeth. So if you can, you should maintain your natural teeth.
Is there a functional deficiency with implants or additional maintenance that people should be aware of?
Oh, for sure. It's really interesting because when implants first came on the market, maybe 20 years or so ago, they said they would replace your natural teeth. You wouldn't have to take care of them, and they would last a lifetime. And now there's so much more research, and it shows that, you know what? Patients that don't take care of their implants, they have the same problems that they do if they don't take care of their teeth. They get periodontal disease around them. They get gum disease and inflammation around them. They require a lot of maintenance. So if you can hold on to your natural tooth, it's way easier than trying to maintain an implant down the road if you lose your natural tooth. The other thing is we know is that if you lose an implant, if you put an implant in and then it goes bad and it has to be replaced, the chances for success are so much lower. So we like to think of it as pushing or kicking the can down the road as far as we can, right? So it's like hold on to your tooth as long as you can, because once you take it out, it's never coming back. And then you can put an implant in, but again, that's not perfect. They don't work for everybody. They require a lot of maintenance.
What kind of maintenance do implants?
Well, they require routine brushing and flossing. You got to go to the dentist. You got to get cleaned around your teeth. It's not, like I said a minute ago, the message used to be that you just stick them in there and they're good forever. You don't have to take care of them. But that's not true at all. You have to maintain them just like a natural tooth.
Okay. But is there any additional maintenance?
Well, only that you need
implants.
Those are the patients that would need to go to their dentist more frequently because they have those kind of issues. So that would require that kind of extra maintenance. Yes.
Does Medicare typically cover the cost of routine dental work?
Unfortunately, it doesn't. There are some of the Medicare Advantage plans that cover a small amount of dentistry, but I think the typical plan through the government does not pay for dental work, unfortunately.
Can I ask why?
That's a conversation for another day with somebody probably from the government. I don't have the answer for that.
What do you think of dental insurance?
Dental insurance is helpful, but people tend to think of dental insurance like medical insurance, and it's really not that at all. It's a small amount of money that goes towards the payment of your annual costs. If you need a lot of dentistry, an extensive amount of dentistry, your insurance is going to run out. You're going to use it up for that year because most plans typically only pay $1,500 to maybe $2,000 a year. That doesn't go very far. And those numbers, interestingly, have not changed over decades. It just, the insurance has not changed. On the other hand, I'm not sure that we necessarily would want it to be like medical insurance, because then you have all of the issues that come with that, and the cost would get overwhelming, I could imagine. So dental insurance acts as a supplement towards your care. It's really not supposed to be any more than that.
Okay, good. Let's take a short break here.
Great.
And listen to an Alzheimer's tip from Dr. Craig Curtis.
We now know that Alzheimer's disease starts about 20 years before the symptoms, with the buildup of a toxic protein called amyloid. And so scientists have been on a quest to remove amyloid to see how it affects the disease. The medicine that was recently FDA approved to slow down symptoms in people with Alzheimer's disease memory problems works by removing this substance called amyloid out of the brain. And now we're attempting to use those medicines to actually remove amyloid before someone develops symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, such as memory loss and forgetfulness.
So that's in that 20-year period before the disease is obvious?
That's right. Scientists now call it Alzheimer's pathologic change versus Alzheimer's disease. And we're saving the term Alzheimer's disease for when someone is actually experiencing symptoms due to Alzheimer's disease.
With over 20 years of experience studying brain health, Dr. Curtis's goal is to educate the Villages community on how to live a longer, healthier life. To learn more, visit his website, craigcurtismd.com, or call 352-500-5252 to attend a free seminar.
I am back with Dr. Stephen Katz, who is a dentist and an endodontist as well. Let me ask you, what are some typical tips that you can give our older senior patients to preserve their natural teeth and maintain their oral health over the rest of their lifetime?
I think some of those tips are pretty routine and simple. Like I would say, maintain a healthy lifestyle, get plenty of exercise, drink lots of water, eat correctly. Specific tips are take care of your teeth. So brush and floss on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Get into a routine so that if you miss it, you feel like you've missed it. And so we find that patients of any age, if they're in a routine, then they have better care.
How did you get associated with the
sure
West
you
Virginia
brush
School
and
of
floss
Dentistry?
regularly.
That's a really great
Keep
question.
your appointments. See your dentist regularly. We talked about that already. That's crucial. I think what's probably a little more important for seniors is that if you have a problem, don't wait. So if you break a tooth, go see your endodontist. If you have hot or cold sensitivity, if you have swelling or redness in your gums, go see the endodontist, okay? We are the dentists that are specific for those types of problems, and we take care of those. The longer you wait, it's only going to get worse. People think that tooth problems go away by themselves. They don't. So if you're having a problem with a tooth, it's going to come back, and it's going to be worse the next time. And ultimately, it could cause you to lose your tooth. So if you have those kinds of problems, see the dentist right away. In addition to that, like we also spoke about before, I think that for seniors, it's important if you have dexterity problems, if you have arthritis in your hands, buy an electric toothbrush. They're so effective. I use one, and I've been using one for years. They just clean your teeth a little bit better. Do you need to have one? No, you don't. But they work a little bit better. So Do that.
I think they work a lot better.
There you go.
I've been buying those Sonicare toothbrushes since they came out, and I'm the guy that busts them inside the warranty period.
Yeah, and so I would highly recommend that. The other thing is...
So there are two types. Maybe you can make a recommendation here. The Sonicares brush up and down. Then there's another brand, for sure remain nameless, that goes around in circles.
So
which one is better?
I'm not going to make a recommendation, but because you mentioned Sonicare, the one that goes in circles is the Oral-B, okay? And so personally, so you mentioned you like the Sonicare. I like the Oral-B because the Sonicare tickles my gums. So it's a little bit uncomfortable for me. The Oral-B does not do that. So that's the one that I use. Either one of them is great. I'm not making a recommendation. I don't work for the companies. I get no money from the companies. I think they're both terrific. And I think they help at any age, especially they would help a senior.
You said that someone should floss every day. Did that mean once a day, twice a day, or 3 times a day?
Typically once a day is enough. Now, if you tend to get food caught in a lot of different places, you may have to floss more frequently than that. But I'll tell you why once a day is enough. It takes 24 hours for plaque to build up. So if your flossing is able to remove the plaque, then you shouldn't have to do it for at least another 24 hours. But again, if you're getting food caught, that's a different story. Then you should floss more frequently.
What do you think of the difference between the waxed and the waxed floss? Which one is better?
Yeah, neither one is better. Again, it's a personal preference. A lot of it has to do with the tightness of your contacts. So what that means is when you run the floss through your teeth, some flosses go through easily and some don't go through as easily.
That's
you
right.
Find the one
that,
you find the one that goes through the best, and it works, whether it's waxed or not. It makes no difference.
Okay. Is there anything such as a medicated floss that is better at taking out the plaque between teeth?
Not that I'm aware of. No, it's purely a manual function. It's not a function. Some of them will have a little bit of minty flavor to them, but it doesn't do anything with regards to removing plaque. It's just, that's purely manual.
Dr. Katz, what can we do to help save our natural teeth and contribute to our overall dental health?
And we talked about that a little bit before, but there's some new evidence, recent evidence, that really tightens the connection between our mouth health, our overall body health. So again, we know that if we can maintain our teeth, that we have better cardiovascular scores, better glycemic scores, and better cognitive function. There's a new report that came out of King's College in London recently where they treated patients that had a root canal abscess. So they had an infection, right, in their tooth, and they did a root canal on the tooth, and they saw their scores improve. They measured their scores over a couple of years, and they saw their cholesterol level go down, and they saw their sugar level go down as well. And when they looked at other inflammatory markers, because remember, Mike, everything in the body is related to inflammation. Well, every disease is inflammatory in nature. So when they looked at these other inflammatory markers, those measurements went down as well. So if we maintain our teeth, if we need a root canal, if we take care of it, we eliminate the infection, then all of those numbers will improve. How do we do that? All of those things we've talked about up to this point. We take good care of our teeth, go to the dentist, and we see a specialist when we need to. Remember, I think this is important for your audience to know. There's no amount of redness, swelling, pain, hot and cold insensitivity that should be considered normal, right? People let these things go and they live with them, but that's really not healthy. So if you're having those problems, that's really the time to see the endodontist.
I've had several root canals over the years, and they were all relatively successful. But I had a cold sensitivity on one tooth. And I went to the endodontist, and after taking numerous x-rays, he said to me, you got a hole in the root of the tooth, and I'm not going to do a root canal on that because it won't be successful. He said in a year, you're going to be back complaining and we'll have to pull out the tooth.
Okay.
Do you think that was the right diagnosis?
It sounds to me like you probably had a process called resorption. Does that ring a bell? When you said a whole tooth?
Oh, unfortunately, it does ring a
Yeah.
bell.
So resorption is the easiest way to describe it is it's a eating away of the tooth structure underneath the gums. So in the roots or in the internal surfaces of the tooth, it's not always very easy to treat. And if that hole, as he described, is pretty large, if it's in a place where you can't get to it to repair it, then I think that's the right diagnosis. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you think that resorption could be caused by calcium deficiency?
Yeah, personally, I've never seen any evidence that suggests that. We know that resorption is related to trauma. So it could be if you got hit, and it could have been, Mike, it could have been years ago when you were a kid or when you were a teenager. It could have been related to orthodontics. Did you have braces when you were a kid?
No, I had braces when I was 40.
Okay, so that could have been related to that too, because we see resorption in patients that have had orthodontics, either young or old. So it could have been related to either of those things. I have not read that it's related to a calcium deficiency.
Okay. A couple of times you made claims about dental health. Dental health is directly related to physical health overall, whether it was capability or stamina. Is there any evidence-based with double-blind studies that dental health has helped the rest of the body?
Oh, sure. There's a lot of evidence. In fact, it goes back for years. So it started with periodontal and gum health, right? There's studies that show that women that don't take care of their teeth have low birth weight babies, okay? So there's a relationship between the mouth and everything else inside of the body. Again, the bacteria that is seen in periodontal disease, in gum disease, we see that causing problems elsewhere. So it's been studied extensively, and there's a lot of evidence. Now, it's hard to do like those studies that you're describing because you can't expose one patient. You can't say, okay, we're going to let you have gum disease, but we're going to fix your teeth, and then we're going to watch you over the next year. We don't do that in this country. So it's hard to do those double-blind type studies that you're talking about. But there is a lot of evidence that if you treat and take care of oral health, that your numbers, your markers will improve. And like that study I told you about from King's College, where they did actually measure inflammatory, glycemic, and cholesterol markers, and they saw improvement in every one of them when they treated that root canal abscess. If you have a root canal abscess, the message is get it fixed, take care of it, and it'll improve not only your teeth and your tooth health, but your overall health.
Okay. So a last question for seniors. What's your message for seniors who haven't seen a dentist in years?
Obviously, you got to go to the dentist. If the longer that you wait, the problems just compound. And I think that if you're not having any pain and your teeth feel okay, you still need to see the dentist because you need to have your teeth cleaned periodically. We just cannot clean our teeth as well as a dentist can do it. In between our checkups, we can, and that's why we go a couple of times a year. If you haven't gone in a few years, for sure you're going to be in need of a cleaning. If you're afraid to go to the dentist, which some people are, I will admit that. The endodontist, when we do root canals now, we have new techniques, new technologies, better anesthetics. The process is literally pain-free. It's like having a small little filling done. It's done in an hour. Patients say to us, I can't believe how pain-free that was, how quick it was, and I didn't feel anything. And they always feel better afterwards. So I think the message is don't delay, get back to the dentist. If you're having a problem, don't be afraid. Call your endodontist. We'll take care of you.
Maybe an additional question here. When I had my root canals, I remember each one as having 2 visits to the dentist's office. One where he went in and cleaned everything out. They put a temporary filling in. Then I had to go back, and then he put the temporary out and filled it. Has that changed?
Did you go to an endodontist or to a general dentist?
Yes, endodontist almost every time.
So typically that's changed over the years. When I first started back in the late 80s and 90s, we used to do things in 2 visits, but now Every treatment is done in just one visit, and it only takes about an hour.
What should a root canal cost, in your opinion?
That's a geographical thing, so it varies depending on where you live, and it also varies depending on which tooth it is. A front tooth is going to be a little less expensive than a back tooth. I'll quote you some numbers. I would say somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000, $3,500, maybe in New York City or in LA, something like that. Yeah, but it's different every.
They're quoting around 3,000 here in the Villages.
Is that for which tooth? Is it for a molar?
Back to
Yeah.
Seems high, but again, it can depend on a lot of factors.
But I don't know what anybody else charges in that area. So it's just based on all of that.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Good. If someone has any questions for you, Dr. Katz, are you willing to take emails or
Oh, for sure.
do you have a website that people should look
Well,
at?
the website would be aae.org, or it would be,
findmyendodontist.com.
or you can
Mhm.
send me the emails.
What email address? You want to send them to me?
Yeah, just send them to you, and then you could forward them to me.
Okay, so you could send them to Mike at rothvoice.com, and then I'll forward them over to Dr. Katz. Good. Dr. Katz, thanks for being with us today.
Sure. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Good.
All right. Sounds
The
great.
complete's a lot,
Okay.
bud.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Remember, our next episode will be released next Friday at 9 a.m. Should you want to become a major supporter of the show or have questions, please contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. This is a shout out for supporters Tweet Coleman, Ed Williams, Duane Romick, Paul Sorgan, and Dr. Craig Curtis at K2 in the Villages. We will be hearing more from Dr. Curtis with short Alzheimer's tips each week. If you know someone who should be on the show, contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. The way our show grows is with your help. Text your friends about this show if you enjoyed listening. Use the fan mail button on our homepage, villagesvitality.life, to leave comments. Be sure to include your name, email, and phone number. We thank everyone for listening. The content of the show is copyrighted by Roth Voice 2026, all rights reserved.